You ever notice how easy it is to look rich now? Open your phone for 5 minutes and you'll see it. Luxury cars, designer bags, bust-down watches, big sections, bigger bills. People throwing money like being seen with it is the same thing as keeping it. And if you're not careful, you start to believe that wealth is supposed to be loud. But here's the truth. A lot of people are not rich. They're just expensive. Now let me say this before anybody gets defensive. This is not one of those tired black people just need to stop buying shoes conversations. No, that's lazy, that's disrespectful, and it ignores history. Here's the trap. When a people have been blocked from ownership, they often get pushed toward visibility. If you can't easily own the building, you buy the outfit. If you can't pass down much money, you pass down image. If your community has been denied security, then symbols of security start to feel like survival. That's why consumerism hits deeper than just shopping. Sometimes it's identity. Sometimes it's pain. Sometimes it's celebration. Sometimes it's compensation. And corporations know that. They know people will pay to feel chosen, to feel elevated, to feel respected, to feel like they finally belong in a world that used to exclude them. So this is not just about bad spending habits. It's about how pain, status, and marketing get mixed together.
Let me paint the picture. Grandma worked. Granddad worked. They raised kids, paid bills, bought some decent things. Maybe got a house. Maybe had a car sitting in the driveway that looked like success. But then life happened. Medical bills, funerals, layoffs, helping grown children, credit card debt, a house with no real estate plan, no emergency cushion, no trust, no will, no real assets outside of what could be seen. And then, the next generation starts over.
Brookings found that black households entered crises with far less emergency cushion than white households. In 2019, average liquid assets were about $1,500 for black households, compared with $8,100 for white households. And when asked whether they could get $3,000 from family or friends in an emergency, 41% of black households said yes, compared with 72% of white households. And this is where people get confused. A lot of families have things that look like wealth. Nice car, fresh clothes, a decent home, jewelry, the latest phone, holiday spending that looks crazy from the outside. But visible money and durable wealth are not the same thing. The Federal Reserve found that black families saw gains in housing wealth, but real average liquid wealth, cash, checking, savings, actually fell. That matters because you can't pay a light bill with looking successful. That's one of the most dangerous parts of consumerism. It gives you the appearance of elevation without the protection of elevation. You feel up, but one emergency proves you're still fragile.
Now, let's get painfully honest. Sometimes we are not buying things because we love them. We are buying them because we don't want to feel small, because we know what it feels like to be overlooked, to be stereotyped, to be seen as less than, to walk into rooms and feel like we need visual evidence that we belong there. So the spending becomes emotional armor. The bag says, "Don't play with me." The car says, "I'm doing well." The shoes say, "I'm not broke." The chain says, "You will see me." And I understand that. I really do. But armor is expensive when you have to wear it every day. And if the cost of being seen is staying financially stuck, then the armor is hurting more than it's helping.
Consumerism is sneaky because it doesn't always feel irresponsible. It often feels deserved. I work hard. I never buy anything for myself. I'm just treating myself. I could have died broke. I want nice things too. And none of those feelings are fake. But if every reward is a purchase, every bad day becomes a swipe, every celebration becomes a shopping trip.
Consumerism is sneaky because it doesn't always feel irresponsible. It often feels deserved. I work hard. I never buy anything for myself. I'm just treating myself. I could have died broke. I want nice things too. And none of those feelings are fake. But if every reward is a purchase, every bad day becomes a swipe, every celebration becomes a shopping trip, and every insecurity becomes an upgrade, then spending is no longer a tool. It's a coping mechanism. And coping mechanisms are dangerous when they're expensive, especially if you're financing them, especially if you don't have savings, especially if you're trying to build something for your children while feeding habits that only make corporations richer. Now, this is the shift. We do not need more applause. We need more assets, more savings, more brokerage accounts, more life insurance with a real plan behind it, more businesses, more paid-off debt, more wills, more trusts, more homes with paperwork in order, more families talking openly about money before funerals force the conversation. Because applause disappears fast, but assets can stay. And the inheritance gap shows how serious this is. The Richmond Fed found white respondents were nearly 3 times as likely to receive an inheritance or major financial gift as black respondents, 34.8% versus 13.2%. And white recipients were also far more likely to receive multiple transfers. So if we already know the handoff is weaker, why are we spending like the next generation has a cushion waiting for them? A lot of them don't.
Now, let's talk solutions, because I never want to leave this conversation sitting in shame. First, stop calling everything self-care. Not every purchase is healing. Some purchases are sabotage with cute packaging. Second, create a pause between emotion and spending. If you're upset, embarrassed, celebrating, lonely, or trying to prove something, do not buy right then. Give yourself 24 hours, sometimes 72. Half the battle is slowing down the emotional swipe. Third, build a peace fund before a flex fund. The CFPB says even a small emergency fund can help people recover faster from financial shocks. Start with something realistic, $500, then 1 paycheck, then 1 month of essentials. Make it automatic if you can. Fourth, pick one status category and cut it in half. Maybe it's shoes, maybe it's hair, maybe it's eating out, maybe it's designer anything. Maybe it's the car note that's eating your future. Don't cut joy completely. Just stop letting one category quietly own you. Fifth, redirect the difference into something that grows. Savings, debt payoff, index fund, retirement account, business starter fund. Because the goal is not to become cheap. The goal is to stop confusing consumption with progress. What if I made it meant this instead? I have 6 months saved. My bills don't scare me. My kids know where the paperwork is. I own assets. I'm not dressing my pain anymore. I'm not financing my image anymore. I'm not making rich companies richer while my future stays hungry. That's a different kind of success. A quieter kind. A deeper kind. A kind that doesn't need everybody's approval. And honestly, that kind of success is a lot more beautiful than looking expensive.